Good morning. This is morning coffee. I've arrived. It's about 5:03 a.m. I've arrived for my dialysis treatment, which is every Monday, every Wednesday, every Friday. I have to get up at like 4 to 4:30. Make sure I'm here by 5. I try and get on the machine by 5:15. And just that whole mental process, of thinking that when I get here, they're going to stick me with these needles. I got to sit on this machine and getting through the mental process. And then on days that I have to go to work, and as soon as I get off the machine, I just got to gear myself up regardless of how I'm feeling and what I'm thinking. And I need to just press my way on to work. And so there have been times and there have been, moments in the 14 years that I've been on dialysis, that really, honestly, that I haven't always looked forward, to doing this in my day. But here's the blessing. In those 14 years, because I've been surrounded by groups of people who have a belief system that has empowered them to look beyond the circumstance and to look at the need, I choose to look at this as, me investing in my quality of life. Because if I do not come here, it is no secret, I will certainly die, because the toxins, in my body would kill me, period. That thought alone, helps me to maintain an attitude of gratitude. And I don't feel sorry for myself. In fact, I brace myself up. And one of the things that I also do is I say to the people who take care of me at dialysis, I say to them, thank you for taking good care of me. And oftentimes we go through life and, people that are our caregivers and people that, do take the time to just, even if it's their job, they don't have to be nice, because they're dealing with a population of people that are, for the most part, miserable for being on this. But thank God for being connected to a fellowship and a group of people that have infused me with the power to choose. Having choice is a gift. So I don't choose to get up, early in the morning, come here Monday, Wednesday, and Friday and be miserable. It's not in my DNA makeup. Instead, I choose to be hopeful, and I go in there with a bounce in my step, maybe sometimes a twist in my walk, whatever. I go in there with an attitude that I am here for treatment. I am here to improve the quality of my life. And that's what it's really all about for me. I want to add this. There are times in my life when I seek approval, I seek acknowledgement for either something I've said, something I've done, someone I've helped. I remember one time I helped this young lady get a job, and this is a lesson. And when she got the job, sometimes when you do things for people, unconsciously or subconsciously, you begin to think that they owe you something, really. And when you get into that mindset, you forget that you have become a vessel. And when you shift from being a vessel to being the vehicle and taking ownership instead of partnership, then something begins to happen to your psyche, and you begin to hold that person responsible for treating you different. Although you don't put this out, you put this out, because when they make decisions not to call you back, or they make decisions that, and in this instance, I was volunteering at this particular agency, and they make decisions not to support something that you're doing, you say to yourself in your carnal mind, well, I got the job. How she treat me like that? So you begin to harbor resentment. And I don't even know why I'm going on with this, but it needs to be said. You begin to harbor resentment, and you forget that somebody did something for you, and more importantly, you forget the gift of being a vessel, and now have turned yourself into a vehicle, like you owning something, and you're entitled. When the reality is, you have cost yourself, some harm, and the person harm. You were given an opportunity to be put in position for God to use you to help somebody else. You don't take ownership of that. So that when you're not acknowledged, or you're not approved, or when that person doesn't do something the way that you think that they should do it, step back. Really step back and understand that that is not going to improve. That's why I'm bringing this up. That's not going to improve the quality of your life. That has been a lesson for me, really. So now when I become the vessel, for a person to get a job or something like that, I have to remember, and I have to be diligent and vigilant about this, that it wasn't me that did it. It's the God in me using me to help somebody else because I'm in position, but I take no credit, no ownership, and I do not have to have a sense of entitlement that they owe me something. The only thing that I ask people to do is do for other people what I have done for you. The God in me touching the God in them. You feel me? I can't believe I'm just charged up this morning on morning coffee. But I'm getting ready to go into this place. It's about that time, and I'm not dreary. I'm not even leery. I'm focusing in on the quality of my life. When I want to improve the quality of my life, I make decisions, that affect my life. I was away, and I'll share this. I was away. I had to go retreat. And while I was there, some of the people there, this wasn't a spiritual retreat. I was in an environment where the atmosphere was really like a retreat, because it was upstate. It was like in a cabin, sort of. It was beautiful. But anyway, some of the people there, were drinking, and some of them were even getting high. And I sat back and I thought, oh my gosh, I would surely like to join in on this festivity. And just for a moment, it looked real good. But I don't drink, and I don't do those things. And of course they asked me, some of them know that, that's not something I do. Some of them, didn't know. And I was like, no, And then the honest prayer was, oh, how I wished I could. I couldn't even play the tape of what would occur. So I started delving in on saying stuff like, well, if I get involved and indulge in this, you won't like me, trying to ease my mind of not wanting to do something that I know I wanted to do. But the reality is, I improved the quality of my life by being really straight up with me. And being straight up with me is like, yeah, I want to do it. But the reality is, if I put one in me, just one, you won't see no morning coffee shows. I guarantee you that. In fact, I will be MIA for years. So the reality is, I don't function in fantasy, and I always have to remember to call on the one who keeps me day by day. And then when I wake up the next day with a whoo, I am so grateful that I didn't join in on that party. And it's not necessarily that these people were like addicts. Some people can have a cocktail or whatever they choose to do. And, these days, marijuana now has become legal. And so immediately I was like, oh gosh, why now? But my life and the quality of my life, it's not set up to have me put in position, to destroy or put more toxin in my body to destroy it. It's not where I'm at. I enjoy being clean and living clean and the sanctity of who I am. That does not need to be destroyed. Never, ever, ever. So this is Morning Coffee. Have a wonderful day.